Thank you. Yeah, when we talk about all those workflows and things you can do with imagery, we tend to use the 5 categories of 5 capabilities of imagery, which are the reality mapping, which you can see as the processing of your imagery into 2D and 3D products. You've got the analysis, that includes GeoAI, where you can derive information from your imagery. Visualization, as in just some powerful visualization tools to make meaningful information products from whatever imagery product you're using. Underpinning all of that is the data management. So whether you're managing small sets of imagery or large sets of imagery, just making sure that it's available to your organization is key in being able to use that asset. And then finally, we describe content. So that is the content that is available in Living Atlas that I talked about, like the satellite imagery. It's information that is available from partners, maybe, that is shared with you, and all of your own imagery layers in your own organization.
And so as Boudewijn said, an important part of working with imagery is the ability to visualize, analyze, and explore that imagery. So we're going to start with updates to the map viewer first. We have some new improvements to help you do just that, and they include first off the raster collection explorer and then the raster function editor.
Yeah, so in the map viewer, we can explore imagery now. And I talked about how Linds's imagery is available now as an S3 bucket. So what I've done is I've managed it all in a Mosaic dataset and then published it as an image surface. And once we add that to the map, and here we zoom into New Plymouth, I've added that layer. And once I add the layer, the default image is the latest image that is available. But if we look at this layer, there's actually over 430,000 images in this image surface. So having an easy way to explore that imagery is key. And that is where you can now use the Raster Collection Explorer. So what it allows you to do, it allows you to filter imagery based on the location or based on an attribute. So in this case, the name, and we can specify a specific data set and get all the imagery for that data set here. If we go back to the defaults, then we can also decide what information we want to see as we're navigating that imagery. So in this case, I'm choosing the title, but also the flown from date. What I can do as well is turn on the thumbnail, so you get a little bit of a preview of what the imagery looks like. And then you can sort the imagery. So this is all the imagery that's in view, and I've sorted it with the oldest first, where you can see there's actually some just post my birth date imagery in black and white. And this imagery we can then start using. So we can either select a couple of these images, add them to the map, or we select just one image, add it to the map. And once we've got it in the map, we can just use it as a reference layer. But we can also start doing analysis on this. So whether that's using the raster functions or the raster analysis tools, you can start doing the analysis that you like to do, where we have an example of as well.
So like Boudewijn said, we have explored our imagery and we're ready to analyze. So in this demonstration, we have 2 digital elevation models from Lins. One is from 2023 and one is from 2018 to 2020. When we go to our analysis tab, we have heaps of raster functions that we can access. And we want to create a chain though. So we're going to go to our raster function template. And here we can add some functions while staying in our map still. For this instance, we want to compute change. So we'll add that function to it, but then we want to remap the values right afterwards to get losses and gains instead. Once we've added them, we connect them together, and then we choose our data layers. As you can see here, we've made our chain, so we could save it so that we could reuse the exact same steps in other maps or projects. But we're not going to do it in this example. Instead, we just want to open the template, and we can see those steps chained together. And just by clicking run, we'd be able to create our layer, which looks a little something like this. Now, as we can see here, we have the loss of elevation in red and the gain of elevation in green. And this is just enabling us to pick up vegetation loss or growth, or even the demolition or construction of buildings from 2018 to 2023.
Yeah, and this is super powerful. So what we've seen here is data that's being hosted in the cloud, products that is a SaaS product, so we didn't need to install anything. And we can do this powerful analysis on imagery without the need of installing all that. All right, so another type of imagery is oriented imagery. So for imagery that is looking straight down, nadir or near nadir, we've got the Mosaic data set to manage all that imagery. However, what we've seen is that there's more imagery coming in that is looking at the horizon. So whether that is from drones for inspections, maybe 360 imagery, or field inspection imagery. And we need a good way to manage that data. And that is where the oriented imagery catalog comes in. And this is something that we've been doing for a while, but as a little bit of a side project in ArcGIS. And now what Esri started to do is integrate it into the software. And why this oriented imagery is so key, because it allows you to get answers to a question of what images do I have that are looking at this location. And that is different than seeing where an image is taken and clicking on the image to see if it is actually looking at that location that you're interested in. So how it's being integrated at the moment is that in ArcGIS Pro, we've got a toolbox now. So if you install ArcGIS Pro, you get the toolbox and you can create an oriented imagery catalog, and you can add your images and manage that catalog. It also comes with a ribbon and a viewer to interact with that oriented imagery catalog. You can then use a normal sharing workflow in ArcGIS Pro to make it available in ArcGIS Online. And from there, you can start interacting with it as well. So in the ArcGIS Online Map Viewer, it will pick up that it's an oriented imagery layer, and you get that oriented imagery viewer. The same as in the ArcGIS Instant App sidebar, where you can now interact with it. And a very easy way to get started with it is through Quick Capture. So if you're interested and you want to get started with this, I would definitely recommend going to Quick Capture.
So any project in ArcGIS Quick Capture that has photo attachments can be enabled for oriented imagery, as you can see here. When you enable oriented imagery in your project, an oriented imagery layer will be automatically created in ArcGIS Online or Enterprise. And then what it does is it's adding all these different fields to capture that extra metadata that allows you to determine where the image is looking at on a map. And so any photo that's taken with this app would then be automatically uploaded to that layer as a feature attachment. And so just by adding this layer to a map that has the oriented imagery viewer, you can interact with it. And from that map, you can then create an instant app. And an instant app looks a little something like this. We already showed this to you earlier when Fran showed it in her updates to instant apps. But we want to emphasize that this is the layer that's coming from that Quick Capture project. And another thing that you can do with this app is that, as we kind of showed earlier, you can click around the map and see all the different footprints of what's visible. We also have this little compass here at the bottom. And with this compass, we can find our little inspection point that we need and click on the compass to find other angles where that same photo, where different photos can cover that same exact inspection point. And so the idea of this application is that we really want to basically just help you explore your fieldwork images in a way that you can quickly see the images, where they are, and where your point of interest is.
Yeah, and going forward, there'll be more enhancements in the integration. So one of the things that is going to be added is videos. So being able to make videos and use that same oriented imagery capability, that's real powerful. What is going to help us with that is that new for motion imagery is that there's a new ArcGIS image server that you can install with your ArcGIS Enterprise. And this is a new role for ArcGIS Enterprise, and it allows you to stream video both recorded as live streams. So once you've got it set up, you can manage search and discover videos, and you can analyze it using things like object detection. So at this release, you need a client for it. So the clients that can leverage this is RGS Pro, it's RGS All Source, and RGS Excalibur. And what you can do then is you can start to annotate this imagery. So in RGS Excalibur, which is a project-based application that allows you to discover the content, not just your videos, but also your oriented imagery and all of the imagery that you're managing in your organization. And you can share results of your analysis then as through easy tools and workflows. So what you can do is things like annotating or marking up your imagery, adding observations or measurements to your video, and then return those as results in a dashboard or a report. So this is a real powerful combination that is available now that we can start using to leverage all of that video that is being captured by organizations.
So one of the sources of those videos and actually oriented imagery is from our drones. ArcGIS Reality is a suite of reality mapping tools that scale all the way from small sites or buildings with a drone to airplanes over towns, all the way up to satellite imagery over entire cities and basically the world. All 4 of these products, though, are tied together by the 4 imagery products that they all produce, which is our digital surface models, our true orthos, point clouds, and then our 3D meshes. And so all these 4 apps, while they all represent different scales, they all create the same things. And so unfortunately, we don't have the time to detail every single update in each one of these applications. This is a very nice summary slide, but the point that we want to get across is that all 4 of these applications are being updated constantly to try to give you the best and most efficient version of those 4 products. They all are using now the same engine, which is the reality engine. So that engine is continually improving to make the most high accuracy and realistic products that we possibly can. I would like to note that one really exciting thing, though, that has come out is that now we can turn satellite imagery into digital surface models as well as in 3D integrated meshes. And that was our imagery session. Thank you.